An age-old battle, yin and yang, two sides of the same coin. As long as Terraria has been out, the debate about which blocky survival crafting game is better have hit both communities. So today, we end the debate with physics. Now, let's get started. A death battle between Minecraft Steve and Terrarian. Let's go. To start out, let's first find the maximum weight both game characters can handle. This has been done 100 times over, so I'll breeze past the calculations. Put the video on half speed if you'd like to actually listen to them. To find the weight Steve can carry, you must first find something that is comparable in real life. Luckily, Minecraft is real life minerals, the most dense being gold, at 19,282 kilograms per 1 cubic meter. Luckily, Minecraft blocks are exactly 1 meter cubed. But this gold can then be converted into a block called netherite, which contains 4 cubic meters of solid gold compressed into 1 cubic meter of space. 64 of these blocks can be put into one inventory slot. If we place a shulker box, we can see that the box has an inventory space of 27 slots, meaning 133,277,184 kilograms of solid gold are compressed into 1 cubic meter. If we pick up this box and duplicate it, Steve can carry 37 of them, including the offhand slot. We can add an additional 2 2/3 of a netherite block to account for armor, meaning that Steve can carry 4,941,386,239.36 kilograms on his person. Those are some deep pockets. Now, let's flip over to Terraria. Terraria actually has an even more dense block, platinum, coming in at 21,500 kilograms per cubic meter. Platinum is the most dense block in the game, but Terraria blocks are smaller at only 0.2 cubic meters of volume per block. However, these blocks can then be converted into thrones consisting of 30 platinum blocks each. 99 thrones can fit in one empty inventory slot. If we combine the powers of the piggy bank, the vault, and the void vault and pick them all up, our character can handle 167 stacks of 99 thrones, or 16,533 thrones, or 495,990 blocks of platinum, or 10,663,785,000 kilograms of platinum. Well, that's it. A Terraria player is approximately twice as strong as a Minecraft player. Congratulations, Terrarian. Thanks for watching. I'm just kidding. Let's jump back to Minecraft. Here is where things get interesting. First things first, let's calculate gravity. This should be easy, as we can simply use this formula with gravity missing and calculate all other variables to insert into the equation. I'll check back soon. So, okay, as it turns out, there is air resistance in Minecraft, which means that there is terminal velocity, which means that we can't use this equation, we have to use this equation, where V equals terminal velocity. But how do you find terminal velocity? You plot a bunch of points using distance and time, and find the slope of that graph, and if the slope is constant, then you know that's terminal velocity. So how do we find time? We use this command block. It counts a tick every tick. There are 20 ticks in 1 second. This command block senses that there's 20 ticks. It sends a signal to this command block, which adds 1 second. These two command blocks simply reset the timer. These command blocks teleport you up. So you'll notice as I step on this pressure plate, the timer stops. I can reset it with the reset button. And when I step off the pressure plate, the timer starts again. This is so that when we step on and reset, we can press a button to teleport ourselves up. We fall. And when we hit the pressure plate again, the timer stops. So you can see a fall from like 50 blocks takes 1 second and 11 ticks. 1 tick is equal to 0.05 seconds. I've been trying this for a while and I can't get it. This is my last attempt, I think. So 3,000 meters, a fall from there should take 40 seconds. So I'll see you in hopefully 40 seconds. Okay, I can see the clouds now. Maybe this will be... excuse me for 1 second. Oh man, just as I expected, it was 40 seconds. Alright, now that we have calculated terminal velocity, if we plug it into the equation from before and solve for gravity, we find that the acceleration due to gravity in Minecraft is equal to 35.9135 meters per second squared, much greater than Earth's gravity. Now from this we can calculate the force required to jump with a maximum weight of 4,941,386,239.36 kilograms. But first we must find Steve's center of mass. We can do this by simply crawling along until Steve falls off the block, and the point on Steve's body where he falls off is his center of mass. Through this we see that it's approximately at the waistline. Now this isn't the best way to find center of mass, but he is a block, so he's going to have the same kind of general shape no matter where he is. The type of jump I'll be calculating will be a crouch and then a jump, as it's more realistic than just jumping straight into the air with no crouch. Here we see that Steve's crouch brings down his center of gravity to about 8 pixels or 0.5 meters above the ground. The equation I'll be using to find force is derived from a work equation and takes into account the center of mass during the crouch.
before the leap, and at the max jump height. We find max jump height by simply placing snow, which is 1/8 of a meter, until we can't jump on top of it anymore. We'll also be using a potion of leaping to maximize jump height. Through this, we find that his max jump height is 2.625 meters. After plugging in all the variables to the force equation, we find that Steve requires 2,006,922,500,000 newtons of force to jump with his inventory full. Landing from this jump would release 3,179,496,500,000 joules of energy, or the same amount of energy as getting struck by lightning 3,180 times. Basically not looking good for the Terrarian, but there's still a chance. Let's jump back to Terraria. Fortunately, calculating gravity in Terraria is much easier, as there's an accessory called the stopwatch that allows us to find our terminal velocity simply by falling and seeing what constant velocity we reach. Through this, we find terminal velocity to be 51 miles per hour. We convert this to meters per second and use a depth meter and real-life stopwatch to find gravity in Terraria to be around 81.6 meters per second squared, much greater than Minecraft. Once we have this, we can use frog legs, the celestial shell, and the red balloon to increase max jump height to 36 feet. Plugging these numbers in the same force equation, but this time setting crouch and standing center of the mass the same, so we get a force of 21,013,792,000,000 newtons. The energy created on impact with the ground would be 2,771,487,900,000 joules, showing that despite having a higher launch force, the impact energy of a Terraria player is much less due to the terminal velocity being so much slower. Back into Minecraft, it's time to calculate the ultimate moves of each character. For Steve, it's his killer punch. To find the pressure of one of Steve's punches, we first find the force it requires to punch with a full shulker box in hand. We do this by taking the distance Steve can punch, which happens to be 4 blocks, the time it takes to punch, which is 3 frames or 1/8 of a second, and the weight of the box. We then plug this into an equation with acceleration, find acceleration, and eventually find that the force of the punch is equal to 345,600,000,000 newtons, but if we divide that up by the surface area of Steve's hand, the pressure of his punch can be found as 1,243,103,530,000 psi, or approximately 23,000 times more pressure than the center of the Earth. One hit and you are literally reduced to atoms. For a Terraria character, the ultimate move is the body slam. Using the Frostbark boots, Terra boots, lightning boots, along with the celestial shell, anklet of the wind, soaring insignia, and magiluminescence, while swapping the panic necklace, all with the modifier quick acquired from reforging with the goblin tinkerer. We then also use a speed potion, eat a piece of cake, eat a golden meal, run near sunflowers, run on asphalt, and use the cobble helmet, along with gi and the shinobi infiltrator pants to max out our speed stat. We see that our max speed is now 281 miles per hour. If we combine this stat with our maximum weight, we can see that colliding with something at the speed would release 17,028,000,000,001,000,000 joules of energy, or about 2 trillion more joules of energy than what was produced when the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. Through this, we can see that if both characters were to fight, there would be no survivors, let alone winners. They would literally evaporate themselves into tiny pieces just from the force of their own attacks. Both of these characters are video game legends who deserve their rankings on the top-selling games leaderboard.